right, we're gonna start this city scene by drawing the horizon line. Again, this is an imaginary line that we will most likely end up not seeing in most of it, but I still want you to put it in there, and then put a dot right in the middle. And what we're gonna start with on this one is we're gonna start with the road first, then add the buildings. All right. So we're going to draw a line, and I'm just going to use the corner of the paper for this example, but you could put it right down there. The reason I'm doing this to the corner of the paper is I want this road to be pretty wide. I'm not going to go to quite to the corner of that side though, because I don't want it too wide. So I'm just leaving a little bit of space here. Okay. So that is our road. All right. Now what I'm gonna add, I'm gonna add a sidewalk before I add buildings here, because if I just started a building here, that would just be the edge of the road. Actually, I'm gonna do the sidewalk on the inside. So then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna measure this. I'm gonna make this edge of the paper. How big should I make that? Let's make it about 2 inches. So I'm gonna put it at 2, put a dash there. All right, I'm gonna do one at this side, because again, the sidewalks will be the same size, same width on both sides, okay? So then, and again, I'm gonna make sure that these are light lines, because I might end up erasing some of them, and I'll explain why I might in a few minutes here. Okay, so there's one sidewalk on one side, one sidewalk on the other side. Now I'm gonna just start with one building, okay? And you can start it wherever you'd like. I'm just gonna start it here, okay? And I'm gonna make sure it goes above the horizon line, okay? I didn't say this previously, but the horizon line is where you are looking, so the viewer is looking, okay? So if you're standing in a road and there's a building off to the right-hand side and you're looking down the length of the road, that building is gonna be most likely taller than you, okay? So you have to make sure that that building goes above the horizon line quite a bit, okay? Now, if you're floating in air, like if you're in an airplane or something and you're looking down at the city, yeah, then you're going to be higher than the buildings, okay? But for this example, we're going to be standing in the road. So you make the line as straight as possible, okay? And I'm making it above the horizon, okay? Now, here's the nice thing about doing that road first and the sidewalk. We already have the bottom of the building here, okay? So the only line we need to do is the top. And you're gonna do top to the top, okay? Now, I'm gonna make the thickness of that front of that building. And I can make it thinner or thicker depending on what I'm doing. I'm gonna make it kind of medium size. Okay. So now that's the front of the building. Since that's the front of the building, I can erase the horizon line, because you wouldn't see the horizon line, right? Now I'm gonna make a kind of an alley here. So I'm gonna make the edge of the building and the top of the building. So there's the bottom edge of the building and top of the building. Make sure this is horizontal, and I can just look at this space and see that it's equal. So there we go, there's the horizontal. And so what I'm gonna do to make this size, I'm gonna make another corner of a building, because I'm gonna make a space here. And I'm gonna make this building smaller. So there's a corner of a second building. Okay, now that one's gonna be shorter than that building. gonna erase this horizon line. All right, erase that little bit. And now I have kind of like this little alleyway here, and I can continue. I'm not gonna make that edge of that building yet until I kind of know how big this front building is gonna be. Now this building, again, the bottom is already there, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna go from the top to the vanishing point. And this one I'm just gonna take to the edge of the paper, because that's gonna be kind of a big building. Okay, and then I can erase this horizon line, because that's the middle of the building. Now, I can see I have this little gap here. I can do one of two things. I can make a line straight down to this building to kind of make that stop, or I can just take it straight over to there. And stop it at that building. So now I have two buildings. I have this building and I have this building. Okay. And then I'm going to skip a spot. I'm going to make another building. This one, I'm going to connect these two buildings, because sometimes if you like go and like say downtown Chaska where there's older buildings, there won't be a gap in between the buildings, but they're definitely two different buildings. So I'm going to just make a line, because now those are two different buildings. But one building, I'm gonna make this building a little taller. So all I need to do is draw that line up a little bit, okay? And then I draw this line up a little bit. And then I have to connect it. That goes back to the vanishing point. And now that's the top of that new building that's back there. Now there's this little triangle that this would be straight across, okay? And you don't erase that. You don't erase this line, because that's the top of this building. That's the top of. Now I'm going to do one building on this side. Kind of repeat that. And I want you to do more buildings here. Eventually. I'm just going to just repeat it on this side. Here, bottom line's already there, top line. Back to the vanishing point. Line. Erase that. Line straight back. Line straight back. And again, make a gap like that on that side. I'm going to do basically the exact same thing, just opposite side here. Vertical line up. This building I'm going to make taller than this building. This one I made shorter. So it's going to overlap that a little bit. And then top of that building, vanishing point goes. Actually, make it a little bit bigger. There we go. I'm gonna make it up here so it's actually taller. There we go. That would go extend out. No, I didn't draw that line, because you don't have to draw that line. Okay. If I wanted to, I could. I just have to end up erasing it. So I'm choosing not to draw that line. Okay, now this is a building, so you won't see the horizon line. And I can make that go all the way to the edge of the paper if I want, or I can make another building here. I'm just gonna keep it the edge of the paper, okay? So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings. I can add more buildings in the background if I wanted. I would recommend adding more buildings back here, but I wanna show you how to make windows. So, windows on this side of the building are pretty simple. They would just be squares or rectangles, all right? But if I was gonna do a row of windows, typically they're all the same height, okay? So the bottom and the top. So what I would recommend that you do, if you do a row of windows on one side that are all the same size, just do a light line. Okay, skip a space. Do a light line. So that represents the top and the bottom. And then, again, I'm using this gap to kind of figure out if my ruler is straight up and down. And then I make a window. Now, you can measure this window if you would like. Let's see how big it is. It's about 1/4 of an inch. So then I can skip a space. Skip a space. Draw a line. Okay. And then make another window that's 1/4 of an inch. So it would be 1/4 of an inch. Draw a line. Okay. Skip a space. Now I don't see the bottom of it, but I can do the top. Okay. 1/4 of an inch. And then another vertical line. And then there's my 3 windows. I'm just going to do 3. Okay, 3 windows. All right. You can add more detail in there and shade them in eventually if you want. Now, if I was to, I'm going to make 3 windows on the front here. Okay, same size though. So what I would do is I would extend this line to this corner. So that would be the bottom of the windows. Extend it to this corner. That would be the top of the windows. So again, bottom vanishing point. So on this wall, they need to go back to vanishing points. So line that up. And I'm just going to do a line on this one building. If you wanted to do both buildings, I could extend that all the way to that building, but I'm just going to focus on this building. Then that line again to the vanishing point. Line it up. Make a line. Again, you can draw it all the way back to the vanishing point, but you don't have to because you're just going to end up erasing it. So now I have the top of the windows and the bottom of the windows. All right. And now you do a line. Okay. Skip a space. Do a line. Okay. Skip a space. Do a line. Okay. Skip a space. And do one more. Okay. Now I have 1, 2, 3 windows there. I can go back in, erase, 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 erase. And I can darken that if I wanted to. Okay, so we have 3 windows and 3 windows, okay? Same thing as if I wanted to do like, let's say I want to do an awning here. So an awning would be like, kind of like a part of the building that sticks out over the sidewalk. So if it's raining, it covers that. So what I would do is I would do kind of like, I'd pick a spot there, and that would go back, that would be the top of the awning. Go back to the vanishing point. Okay. And then the bottom of the awning. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this line first, actually. That line would be the side of the awning. Then the bottom would just come straight out to that spot. That would have to go back to that vanishing point. So I kind of make this triangle shape. Back to the vanishing point. Okay. And then this line and this line need to be parallel. Okay. So you see how I've done that? And I can erase that building because you wouldn't see that building anymore because the awning would be in the way. Erase that line, and erase that line. So now I have this awning that comes off the side of that building. Okay? And then you can put a door down here and make it look like it's business or something, okay? Now, to make lines in the sidewalks, those are just gonna be horizontal lines, okay? So I'm just gonna make some lines here. I would recommend if you do one line on one side, do another line on the other side, okay? And then here, skip a space, one line, skip a space. And you can do as many lines as you want, just make sure it's horizontal. Skip a space. All right, and you can make those lines in the sidewalk, and then you have the road. You could do a curb if you wanted to, and if you did a curb, all you do is just kind of make another line here, and then this would go down, 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 like so. I'll do one on this side. So again, down, down, down. Now it looks like it goes straight and down. And then if you wanted to do like even a gutter, you could even do that. I'll show you what that looks like. So now I have a gutter. So if I wanted to, I can put like a drain or something. You know how like in streets they have those drains. So then this would be dark. Like a storm drain. Okay. That would be dark. And then you could make a grate here. So now I have a storm drain like that, okay? And you can put another gutter on the other side. If whatever you do on one side of the road, I would recommend doing the same thing on the other side of the road, so then it looks the same, it's even, because the road is gonna be pretty symmetrical, okay? And then as far as the line down the middle, I would recommend just doing a light line to start, right down the middle, okay? And then you can add some thickness to it if you wanna just do like a stripe down the middle of the road. So there's one stripe, and then you can do like dashes on the other side if you wanted to, okay? You can add more buildings, more windows. You could add like people in here. If you wanted to add a brace to this awning, you could. You could add lines to this awning. You could put a sign above here and do text on there. I'm gonna color in these windows just so you can see what that would look like if I was just to block those in. So just color it in a solid value. Like that. Now, if you're gonna do bricks on here, or some lines to give that the illusion that it's going back down again, what I would do is just kind of pick some marks on here, and you can measure these if you would like, or you can just eyeball it for this drawing. And I can just kind of go in there, and now I'm just gonna make some lines. I'm just doing this building though, I'm not gonna extend it into the other building. So I'm just doing some lines on there so I can see how that would look to give the illusion that it's going back into space. Again, on this side, all lines go back to the vanishing point. On that side of the building, all lines would just be horizontal. So if I did that, it would just be horizontal, straight across. Straight across. Straight across. All right, so you can see how now I'm making these lines on the building. I'm gonna skip some of these tick marks so you can see what it would look like as it changes, okay? And as it changes, I stay here at the vanishing point, and I just rotate the ruler. Make sure I extend it so it touches the edge. Rotate the ruler. Oop, a little bit too big. All right, so you see how those lines are starting to kind of turn as it gets closer to the horizon line. It'll be flat at the horizon line, then it'll go up if I continued that on that building. But on this side, they'd all still be horizontal. Horizontal. So again, it gives the illusion that you could go into this alleyway, but if you're standing here, it goes back to that vanishing point. So it's 1 point linear perspective. All right. I can shade in that more. I can shade in this valley, this alleyway. Make it look like you could go down into that alley. So now that looks like you could actually go into that alley a little bit. You could shade that some more, obviously. Add windows here, add windows there, add windows details there, add more buildings. And then if you wanted to, like obviously, this could be like the edge of town or something. You could kind of stop a building here, stop a building here, and erase that. Put some telephone lines out there so it looks like there's like more space. Maybe some mountains or something kind of in the background. So it just doesn't end kind of weird like that. But that is basic city scene, 1 point linear perspective. Starting it, not finishing.